In this chapter, the Straw Hat Pirates are just trying to tread water, but when all is said and done by the end of the chapter, there's only 3 left standing.
One Piece, chapter 477, 3/8. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, 3 out of 8.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters, and those that have had their shadows taken of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, and I'm here to bring you another review on the awesome, the ecstatic, the electrifying, and the shadow-filled tale of One Piece. Now, following the events, of course, of last chapter, which really wound up ending off with everybody getting the shit beat out of them. I mean, that's really how things were working out. All the attacks that the Straw Hats, as much teamwork as they were using, they were not very effective. Frankie, of course, was knocked out, was knocked unconscious. Brooke wound up getting fired at Oars to damage him like a lightning arrow, but was stuck in the wall, and then he was getting jacked up. Basically, they're just dropping one by one, and at the end of the chapter, we got a little glimmer of hope when Oars went to stretch out and do a gum attack and was unable to because Moria was actually being held by Robin, and of course her invisible her appendages, I guess that you would say, that can appear anywhere. So she was holding his arms and of course his neck. So that's how the chapter left off, and that's actually right where the chapter picks up over here, and she's able to temporarily immobilize Moria, but Moria winds up going and sending out like these dark, evil little bats after her that start grabbing onto her and eating her and everything else, or trying to eat at her, and she winds up having to break her concentration for a second to go and get some of these things off her. Sanji, of course, is flipping his shit, right? Because nobody touched the girls. Nobody touched the titties, you know what I mean? Because Sanji wanted to get some. So Sanji comes in there, he's kicking shit left and right. Then Moria's shadow, he sends that out, and it's coming up by her. Oh, big hulking freak fucking potato head looking shadow that he's got. And so anyway, what happens though is that Robin goes and realizes that if she just focuses, if she's able to actually focus from the outside distractions, that she can still go and keep him pinned down and maybe even take him out. And that's what she winds up doing. She recenters her focus over there, and then all of a sudden she's just like, clutch! And you just see Moria and his head just snap around, right? I'm like, oh, damn! Oh, snap! Right? Literally, snap the neck. And I'm thinking, oh, fuck, this is nice, but obviously they're not going to let Robin beat the big bad guy in this particular arc. So I'm thinking, shit, right? So, and then you see Sanji, and he's like, what? Well, what wound up happening, and we see come up behind him, is that Moria's able to switch places with his shadow, his doppelman, as he calls it, anytime he wants. So he wound up just going and switching out his body with his shadow. The shadow's the one that got its neck broken, so the shadow, of course, is fine. And the shadow, of course, can't be manipulated by her arms either. It cannot be held down or whatever, because it's a fucking shadow, right? Which is kind of weird, though, because they had other guys, the guys that were putting the shadows into Luffy, were, like, hanging on to shadows. So, anyway, some people can hold them, some people can't, some people can touch them, some people can't. Little bit of inconsistency there, I think, but I'm going to let it slide because Moria, obviously, he's kind of like the originator of all this stuff. It's his power of the shadow fruit that's making all this shit happen to begin with. So we'll just sort of we'll sweep that one under the rug, just sweep it on the rug, put the rug down. Anyways, so we wind up having, he, of course, his body now, his actual Moria, is behind Robin, and winds up going and nailing her, knocking her out or whatever, and then actually is able to go and rip her shadow out of her. So it actually kind of just looks like she sort of falls to the ground, maybe, like with the damsel in distress, like, oh, I've got, like knee-high or thigh-high boots on, with heels, and I'm wearing like fishnet garters. I'm not asking for it at all, but anyway, in a short skirt where if I bend over you can see my asshole. But anyway, she's like kind of does a, ooh, and he just tears her shadow out of her, and he's like, okay, that's 3 down. And at first I was thinking in my head, I was like, 3 down? I was like, you already got Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro's shadow. That was 3. But then I was like, he meant 3 Straw Hats down, taken out. And obviously Frankie and Brooke, who's not officially a Straw Hat yet, but whatever, the guy is a musician, he's going to join the crew, I'm sure. But the point being is that that's where the 3 that had gotten taken down. So then he goes and now that Robin's out, he goes and he switches places and gets back into Oars over there, And then he's like, hey, sorry for that, sorry for taking some of your glory, stealing some of your thunder. And Oars is like, stupid master, I told you I can take her out. So he goes to go, gum bazooka, and he's gonna go and he's just gonna crush Robin. And I'm thinking, oh shit, now Robin, don't be fucking with my girl Robin. Don't mess with Robin, don't mess with Nami. Nami's already been fondled and Robin got licked and shit. And just stop this shit, right? Stop the madness. Stop the madness. Anyway, So as he goes to come out and nail Robin, man, we get Sanji, because you know Sanji gonna grab his big boy nuts and he's gonna man up and do anything he can to protect the women. So he winds up going in Diable Jambe, man. He gets that fucking fire leg going, boy. And it's kind of cool because in the anime we're just finishing up. Me and my family we're about episode 300, so we're just finishing up or getting to the end of Annie's Lobby, and we just wound up seeing a few episodes back the Diable Jambe, you know, and just an old black leg Sanji going at it. So he comes up and he just boom, you know, as he winds up, he takes some damage and gets knocked out, knocked back, whatever, but he's able to actually deflect Orr's attack, so he's not able to kill Robin, right? And so that's obviously, you know, not very good when you think about it. And so that's number 4 that's down or whatever out of the Straw Hats that are taken out. Zoro's still kind of on looking at the whole thing over here. Next thing you know, we see Chopper, and Chopper's little ass is up on Orr's shoulder, right? And they're like, what are you doing? And he's like, you know what? I'm trying to figure out what it is that killed this thing 500 years ago, because obviously something must have killed it. If he didn't die of natural causes, that could be its weakness. Let's figure out what it is that actually killed it. So anyway, Chopper discovers on his right arm that the right arm was actually, it's like not his original arm. It was another arm of some other big fucking beast that I guess, you know, obviously Absalom, Hogback was able to go and graft or sew onto him. So, and he winds up seeing traces of frostbite there. So basically Chopper does like an on-the-job autopsy and sees that there's traces of frostbite and figures that he must have died from exposure, right? That makes sense. And then they're talking about in there 500 years ago, and Orr's probably walked around no clothes on with his ding-a-ling hanging out. And hey, listen, anybody, the elements can get anybody. It doesn't matter how powerful you are, okay? The elements can take you down. That's what they're trying to explain. But what Chopper says is, he can't feel pain, but let's keep attacking this fucking arm, because if we can damage or break this thing off, it'll cut his power in half, right? So I thought that was nice too. You know, you get Chopper in there, you know, just helping out, helping the crew a little bit. So Chopper goes and actually gets grabbed by Orr's, right? And then he goes and he shrinks down, and in between the spaces of his fingers, it's like a fucking cave to Chopper. Chopper takes himself a rumble ball, man, goes and, you know, horns up and whatnot, drops himself down, and then goes and gets a freaking leg up or whatever you want to call it. You know, I think it's Zoro that winds up throwing him up or whatever, and taking him, you know, and shooting him towards him, and he goes, BAM! Is able to go and hit him in the arm. Everybody's taking turns now, and the whole idea is to repeatedly just damage this frickin' arm, right? Zoro winds up coming at him. Everybody's going to wind up coming at him with this stuff and just trying to take out this goddamn arm, do the best they can. The chapter actually winds up ending off, though, on kind of a bad note, I thought, because we wind up getting Orr's over here, and here's a nice double-page spread. He winds up going and kind of, you know, gum, and then he winds up actually going and doing a Gatling gun, right? And he does the Gatling, and you're just like, oh, fuck. And then you go and you see in the next panel, in the next page, you see Sanji, eyes glazed over, blood coming out of his mouth, and you see Chopper. For some reason, I thought Sanji wound up getting taken out on that, when he deflected the Orr's move, but he actually is the one that went and threw Chopper up in the air, you know, so Chopper could go in and could nail him and hit him in that arm. So the point is, though, is that obviously things wind up ending off very, very bad, because he's like, and then we get more. That's 4 and 5, only 3 left. So all we got is Zoro, Usopp, and Nami. And let's be honest now, nobody's going to put a lot of faith in Usopp or Nami saving the day. Although they have had their shining moments in this particular arc, I think, anyway. So Nami's was a little bit gratuitous, where it was just like, you know, she kind of got back at Absalom, who was already weakened, to take him out at the end. But Nami has come in with a couple of pretty, you know, good moves over there, okay? First of all, she went and she saved Frankie from getting killed, getting stomped on or getting killed by Orr's, by hitting him with the lightning. Then she wound up going and lighting up Brook, of course, at his request, so he could actually damage Orr. So Nami's been pretty valuable in this fight so far, as has Usopp. And then, of course, if you remember, Usopp actually was able to go and defeat Perona. So that winds up wrapping around and leading to my chapter question. In this particular arc thus far, out of, I would say, the 2 weakest characters, which would be Nami and Usopp, which one do you think has had better shining moments and has been more of a value to the Straw Hats and to their team in general, and why? Leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'm going to look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation.
Thank you for watching. Please remember to follow me on Facebook and Twitter for more.